And just like that, we are back with the third match of the day. It's going to be Gaimin Gladiators taking on Arial Arise. Gaimin Gladiators, we'll start with them. I think a good team, Cookies, we'll obviously talk about their players. It's going to be tough for them. There's no way around it with Arial Arise.
Oh, it's going to be tough for everybody involved today. This is going to be a physical matchup of two very muscular, manly men. And for Gaimin Gladiators, I like their overall play style as a team. It's very PTFO style. If you are familiar with Battlefield, playing the objective, that is what this team does very well, both on attack and defense. They aren't exactly blowing your minds. They don't have crazy strategies. They're not overtly aggressive. Somebody has a terrible mic right now. You know, they don't have any of that stuff going for them. They're not that intricate. They don't really pop off the eye, to be honest. But it's the type of thing that keeps them in their games, and it keeps them competitive with everybody they've played thus far. Jolton, though, when they do need to switch the tempo and they need to actually get something done, and when they need to maybe do something crazy on a site, Jolton's the guy to do it. That's why you see those entry numbers are actually pretty good for a guy who plays Sledge and like Smoke, and he's running Alibi sometimes. Jolton is the action player, and the rest of the guys really fit the mold well in their own right.
Now, Arial Arise, Connor, this team, we had high expectations for them coming in at the start, and they've, I would say, taken those expectations and still blown them out of the water.
Yeah, this is a team that, you love them. You have some players coming home. Jay from the league, a nice read sync coming up from the academy program of Wichita onto this new Arial Arise roster that has looked very, very good and consistent across the board. They haven't dropped any points. I mean, I guess they've dropped points, but they've gotten a point in every single game so far, which is very, very good, and that's why they're on the top of the league right now. When you have players like Freakamo has a dynamic duo that can kind of always pop off and win rounds wherever there's any sort of chance, you're always going to be in said rounds, as well as Jay. He's been popping off. This is the most athletic Jay that we've ever seen. He gets assists removed from his hands, and all of a sudden, he's flicking all over the place and absolutely sending people to the shadow realm.
Now, the thing that doesn't bode well for me when we're looking at Gaimin Gladiators, Cookies, is the fact that, they win the games they should, and they kind of lose the games that they should as well. And now you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, this is one that they should lose. So I don't want to call it before it's begun, but they kind of seem to fill the role that they should, match by match.
Let me make it intricate for you. So Gaimin Gladiators,
That's what you're here for.
You know how I said they're just very mission, they're very basic, right? Gaimin Gladiators, when you put a problem in front of them, for example, Oculix is spontaneous, right? On a map like Clubhouse as well, they struggled there. You give them issue, you put problems in front of them. I think it wasn't Arial, it was some other team, but you throw in C4s at them as they're setting up their attacks and whatnot. They have problems. If you actually kind of throw cogs into the machine, you're gonna cause problems for Arial Rise. So, or for Gaimin. So if you want to flip the switch and I guess apply it to this matchup, they need to do the same thing to Freak. They actually need to make sure Freak can't, just kind of waltz around and destroy their attack single-handedly. That's been something Freak's done to other teams in the league. Connor, would you agree that
yes,
this is the most dynamic team that Gaimin's gonna have to deal with outside of maybe an Oculix or something?
Yeah, this is all probably going to be one of the most hardworking teams they're going to go up against as well.
Yeah.
And if you're the side of Arial Arise, there are certain things that you can look and pick apart on the side of Gaimin Gladiators. Mainly the fact that their two entries, Quartz and Sykes, are very negative in those early round engagements. It's only Jolton that's positive, and sure, he's +7, but he's on the Sledge and like the Mute. Those are not your operators that you want taking the first engagements. And the fact that he's the one having to get aggressive is a little bit worrying. And when you have Freak, who, as we know, is very true to his name. He is a freak. He will just walk in, boom, go wherever you want. He will die for the cause. He will die for his country. It's going to make things hard.
Right. And when I say make Freak uncomfortable, for example, Freak likes to walk around on both attack and D. The guy walks in front of windows. Maybe he stays a little bit too long when he's getting drunk. He's an instigator, 100%. And you take him out of his element, that's going to be the winning element, or rather than winning dynamic. And of course, that's going to be a lot of Quartz and Sykes. It's going to have to be, depending on the map we go to as well, especially. And let's talk about Arial real quick. Tidying up the early round, right?
Yes, because You know, they get those first couple opening picks, which against a team like Gaimin Gladiator, apparently that is low-hanging fruit. You can just use a step stool. You don't even have to go on the full ladder to climb to the top of the tree and get the good fruit. It's just a little step up and just pluck. Nice, easy opening picks over and over again. With Arial Rise being one of the most structured teams here in CL, going towards that execute phase should be really easy. It should be very nice. Having the man advantage, they just come in, pop off, win rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And that, again, ties into just dealing with freaking. Cut him off. Don't let him put you in a YouTube video. You should be able to handle the late rounds. But a lot of that depends on the map, doesn't it, Brim?
It's a tall task, but you are exactly right, Cookies. The map is the most, I would say, yeah, the most important part. The players, the map, yeah, that's what we're talking about.
It's all these dynamics and quintessential prerogatives.
And synergies and whatnots. What haves use.
And let me tell you, we're talking maps. Arial Rise has, I'm gonna say, I think they have the best map pool in CL. They've played almost every map that you see banned right now pretty well. If you're Gaimin Gladiators, you don't want to take in a bank. That's where they've looked the most dominant, honestly. Cafe historically always been really good for them, you know. So there's honestly, it's really hard to find a world where Gaimin Gladiators is just going to be able to just beat them in the map phase. They're going to have, they're pretty much going to have to play on Arial Rise's turf, no matter where we end up. Arial's just kind of comfort banning, honestly. You can ban Clubhouse because you don't feel like playing Clubhouse, even though that's also a good map that Arial Rise could have went to against Game, and they lost that to Oculus. So there's just like, they have the, I guess they have the golf tee in their hands, and they get to whack Gaimin Gladiators in the head with it. And they're going to go to Theme Park, again, a map where they looked okay. They didn't win, actually. They lost on Theme Park.
Yeah, but like,
but they looked okay. They looked competent, right?
That was a super close one. And
exactly.
Connor, like, took the kids. I think of a team like Took the Kids, and I think of Theme Park, and it doesn't surprise me that that kind of team can push an Arial Rise to, you know, a 7-8 or I guess 7 on the side of Arial Rise. I like the chances of Arial Rise going to this map. I think, unfortunately, the last time they faced it, they faced one of, if not the only team you just don't want to go there with. I don't know. This is looking good. Obviously, everyone agrees with me, Connor.
I think this is a very, very close matchup that is not representative of a whole of us. I think this is everybody's like, who should we pick? And we just so happen to all pick Arial Rise. Because this is going to be a completely different theme park to what we saw of the Arial Rise versus TTK. Because this is a bunch of old heads fighting theme park. For the side of Arial Rise, they still had a lot of those old strats that we come to love with theme park before it was removed from the pool. Now you're going to have the Bex Dog strats from Xbox or however long ago with theme park. They're just going to be clashing, and overall should be a lot more of a fundamental based game, which at the end will kind of lean a bit more towards the Arial Rise side. I think you would agree, CJ.
I think it kind of goes back to my critical point. I think Arial Rise is a little more dynamic. Also, they're more of a wild card. I think the Took the Kids Arial Rise game, unironically, was like this. It was a weird mix-up of two teams that are both kind of crazy.
And the circumstances of the game.
Yeah. We don't talk about it. There were some circumstances. But I think Arial Rise matches up well with Gaimin Gladiators. I think sometimes Gaimin Gladiators are a little stagnant. Maybe that'll be what costs them in this one.
Well, we're setting up nicely for this third match of the day. I think it's going to be exciting as they've all been, as they will continue to be. I'm most excited too that we seem to have broken the curse today. We all voted for one shot in that very first game, and one shot took it. I'm feeling good about Arial Rise, and we are going to Theme Park. Take it away.
I remember, Jonah, once upon a time at the beginning of this stage where Arial Rise, we had high hopes for them, and they looked like, well, Arial looked like they were going to be the most mid team in the league. And then out of nowhere, they remembered that they're goddamn Arial Rise, and they remembered how to play the game, and now they're up at the top.
Yeah, crazy how far they've come, right? It was Playday number 2, Arial lost to Outlast, and we're all rubbing our heads. We're going, what in the world are we looking at? But then they've turned it around. Like you said, they have bounced back, and yeah, they do look like the Arial Rise that we know and love. This is a team that we're quite familiar with, and that when they're feeling good, when they're playing good, it's like they can't make a single mistake. Well, we'll see how things shake up against Gaimin Gladiators, because coming into the stage, this is another one of these teams that we did think pretty highly about, and they've had their moments. It hasn't been all that pretty, but they've definitely excelled in certain circumstances. But the reason that I'm glossing over these operator bans is because even for a map like Theme Park, which is really exciting that we get to see again, it is very standard to see the Maverick, the Thatcher, the Mira, and the Cade off the board. The Mira ban, of course, pretty typical, and the Cade ban in place of the Valkyrie, a necessity because the Maverick and the Thatcher are both banned. Those Electro Claws, painful to deal with, especially if the Electro Claws are still up on the board, of course.
Especially on Theme Park, where on a site known as Throne Armory, where there's literally no vertical destruction you can do above one of the sites, Cade can be exceedingly annoying. So it definitely makes sense that those are the bans. But Jonah, for the second game in a row, Valkyrie's up. He's not being played, though. So I'm a little sad about that. But Theme Park, very big map. Valkyrie, a very well-placed cam, can give you a lot of insight on what's going on. So I imagine, you know, a lack of Valkyrie isn't going to be a common theme throughout the entirety of the map. Maybe just, you know, a couple rounds here and there, such as this Throne Armory defense. The Aerial Arise are, of course, roaming, as one does on a site like this. They are pretty extended horizontally as well. For the moment, there's only one person on site. I believe that's Freak on Smoke. That's an operator pick that I would not have expected. But, yeah, for the most part, Aerial Arise are upstairs. Gaimin Gladiators are going to have to clear them. And I know we said it about One Shot, but we'll say it about Gaimin Gladiators as well. They have had a decent amount of issues when it comes to time.
Yeah, and especially on Theme Park, that is going to be a serious problem if either of these teams struggle with just efficiency, especially on the attacking side, right? This map, much like the border that we just saw, which is shocking to say given that it was border, but both of these maps, at least the way border played out, rather, very dependent on map control, right? And how quickly the attacking team can move in. Theme Park especially, given how simply big this map is. The amount of buffer rooms you have to clear through to get to just any of the bomb sites, especially one of these first floor bomb sites, when you're trying to clear this top floor, there is so much you need to do. And even though 3 minutes sounds like a lot, as you can see, already a minute down as people are finally getting into the building. Now you got 2 minutes to get all that control under your belt. So Gaimin Gladiators, they've got to make that decision. Do they want to go for that full clear, apply the pressure from above? But without the sledge, we may be seeing that they actually want to go a bit more aggressive and a bit more direct.
Flashes go up to burn, nade to follow to make sure the Mute Jammer isn't going to have any say in the round. And no, the C4, I believe, from Jay is going to miss. It's going to get stuck on the wall and destroyed by the nade. But there is another nade on the defense that's there to answer. Reed will burn away one exothermic charge, and he's still got another impact. He might completely deny this breach from Gaimin Gladiators, but no! The second impact will miss. The breach is now open, and the gas canisters come out to respond.
Well, here's the deal. With only one hard breacher in the lobby, now Gaimin Gladiators cannot apply pressure from both the maintenance and the barrel side. It's going to be this one angle of attack, the one side of approach, and really what they can do with it is going to be the question. Mo gets one back after the first kill was found by Gaimin Gladiators, and Jay will follow that one up, getting that blow onto Jolton. Both the Zofia and the Finka now removed. The 30 seconds approach on the clock. Quartz knows he's got to step up, and he gets taken down. Mo, all the way from behind, Throne hits a beautiful shot to take him down with only 20 seconds remaining for Arrow and Beastly to do something. They don't have really good avenues to approach the site. That will cost Beastly his life, and Arrow is soon to fall after, given that he is in a 1v4, a shotgun to greet him on the other side, and a dominant victory for Arial Arise just in round number 1 with 4 bodies still up, ready to go. That is a hell of a way to start.
Although the Gaimin Gladiators were able to open the site wall, they weren't able to open the site itself. There wasn't a lot of clear going on, no utility being sent in. The only angles they were really pushing from was Dragon Doorway and the maintenance wall. They had no pressure by split. Yellow wall wasn't open. There were still roamers from Arial Arise on that side of the map when we saw, I think it was Reed Sync get the kill on the Nomad very late into the round, right before the finisher. And so Gaimin Gladiators were funneling themselves into the sights of Mo, into the sights of Jay. Not a lot they could do there. And sometimes that's how Theme Park works out, especially on Throne. If you're not coming from enough places, then you're just going to get swatted down. Now, Arial Arise will rotate upstairs, as is customary, to, I believe, to Bunk. A site that has almost completely replaced Office. I feel like now, for some reason, Theme Park is Throne, Bunk, Lab. And we just, like, never see Initiation ever.
Yeah, every once in a while we'll see it brought out, but it's a very tough site to defend.
It's like mining now on Cafe.
Oh, right. The way it's positioned on this top floor, like, you can approach from either side on the attack, right? Bunk and Daycare, you really can only approach from the east. As a defensive team, you know how much map control, what exactly the attackers are going to do. Obviously, you can easily pressure Cafe and pressure from the top arcade side, but if the approach is map control, then you really only have the one option. On the other side, Initiation and Office, you can approach from arcade, take through Bunk, take through Break Room, or you could take from Cache, take from Top Dragon. You've got so many more options. No real surprise to see Arial Arise going to Daycare as a result. It is a little bit unusual to see them play this aggressively. On a map like Theme Park, you'd expect them to play maybe slightly passive, especially in terms of these early fights, but Freak, he is rearing to go, shooting out a couple of drones, getting aggressive and trying to deny the Cache entry as long as he can.
I mean, you're talking about how we see a lot more passivity typically, but I mean, it is Freak.
It is Freak.
It is Freak. He just does that. He is that guy for Arial Arise more often than not. Although Jay has certainly been challenging him for that title so far this stage. Jay has been incredible. I know the analyst desk highlighted it, but holy crap. Jay has been looking even better than he did back when he was on the original Wichita Wolves roster before they were known as Arial Arise. But the Thermite will come out from Arrow. I don't believe there's anything covering the wall, so this will be a free breach. But Jonah, it's coming out a minute 30, and now Jolton is dead. Gaimin Gladiators has spent half the round just taking cash and control. And now they've lost a body.
And they've lost a body in a rather humiliating way. I think Jolton tried to jump in top arcade and get aggressive, but he walked into a Malusi Banshee. He walked into a Wub Wub. His position was very exposed and vulnerable at that point. So, yeah, I mean, it was not very hard for Reed to clean him up. So, they've lost a body. They've got a minute to go. They've finally taken this control of Initiation, Office, and Waiting Room, but that's just halfway there. They've used one exothermic charge, but you've got to find a way to use the second to actually open up the site itself. Arrow looks like he'll be getting that one down. The Bandit battery is taken care of with a nicely placed grenade. So now that that's opened up, they've got an option, but now they're falling to pieces. Sykes and Beastly get lit up, even downed. Sykes, of course, bringing himself back up with that Finka boost, but with 30 seconds, they are in trouble. Quartz gets the first, though.
So he'll get the equalizer. Moromai is coming out to make sure that Jay won't be getting naded anytime soon. He'll shoot out the air jab behind him as well. He's got a nice angle towards the breach. It seems like a lot of Gaimin Gladiators are just going to completely avoid that avenue. Nade being cooked by Sykes, but it does not go close. That means Freak gets some freebies, 2 for him, 1 for Jay. Quartz with a singular refrag, and 5 seconds remaining. He'll be finished off by none other than Reed Sync, and Arial Arise will hem the storm that Gaimin Gladiators tried to push through. It seemed like they just kind of gave up on the bunk wall and were like, all right, there's 2 guys watching this. We can't really do a lot. So let's just walk through the other bottleneck instead.
And that right there is a perfect display of why taking map control on Theme Park is just so freaking hard. I mean, Bunk and Daycare, you gotta try to apply some pressure from top arcade or cafeteria, because if you can't, you're just gonna funnel right into the defensive arms. I mean, that's what we just saw. We saw how Gaimin Gladiators tried to take all the map control they could, basically doing it on hard mode in a sense, because they had to really clear out what feels like 2 separate bomb sites. If a defensive team knows what they're doing, they're going to extend into Initiation and Office, reinforce all those walls off, maybe even some hard breach denial. Thankfully for Gaimin Gladiators, they didn't have to deal with that, but you've got to work your way up, deal with a couple of freaky roamers or Freak himself, get half the map open, and then, oh, when you have a minute to go or less, you realize, oh, wait a second, there's still another half of the top floor to go. And that's exactly the kind of environment that is ripe for plays that, like, Freak was able to get done by sitting around a corner. Gaimin Gladiators, no time to check that, and there you have it, they die. It's that simple. So this is the site that Gaimin Gladiators need to take advantage of. It is a lot harder to defend. It is vulnerable to executes that are aggressive. It is vulnerable to rushes. That's why the Frost is in play. Let's see what Gaimin Gladiators can do.
Oh, I was just about to say, ooh, does Freak get a kill here? And he got effectively snuffed by Sykes. Well played to the Finka to get the opening pick. And, I mean, Freak's no stranger to getting opening pick. As mean as that sounds. I mean, Freak is a very aggressive player. Sometimes he ends up getting 3 kills. Sometimes he dies without doing anything. So I'm sure Arial Arise are very prepared and have a fallback plan in case he dies early. Plus, he's Thorn. All 3 of his Razor Bloom shells have probably been sent out. Shield already been placed. But I do like Gaimin Gladiators' pace so far this round. You know, just a minute down, and they've already made their way into initiation and office, ready to clear the shield that Mo is sitting behind. And of course, this is probably the site where that vertical play is the most important.
Right, you really can force those defenders out of the site and put them into some tough spots if you can effectively use that vertical. Of course, you got to get there first, and dealing with this deployable shield is the first step, but in about 15 seconds later, they will have that shield confirmed and dealt with. Still some players on the top floor to deal with. Reed is one of them, over in break room, spraying people down with this DMR. He's got a couple of angles, established a punch hole to work with, but still has not been forced out. Jay, who was on the top floor until a moment ago, looks like he will tuck tail and run towards the arcade stairs and back on off. Mo, he's still up top. He's still got a shield to work with, a different shield than the one that was already destroyed. But Gaimin Gladiators, they're finally working their way up. This exothermic charge to open up another angle. Mo now, he's just going to have to take this gunfight or fall back and play safe.
Well, the initial pacing from Gaimin Gladiators was good. They've certainly slowed down a bit. Sykes is taking some damage from the Aruni, and it's Mo to take the gunfight you were just talking about as Arrow tries to run through the breach. We've now equalized 4 apiece, and there's only 30 seconds left. Situation worsens for the attack as Jolton goes down. Mo a second kill, giving his team the man advantage. That's case dropped as well from Arrow because it still has not yet been recovered. 20 seconds remaining now as Gaimin Gladiators are floundering upstairs. Still not sure where Mo has gone. They've concluded that he's finally gone downstairs, but Reedsink, playing far away from the site, lands the kill on Sykes. Beastly gets a refrag, but Court, another 2 versus 2. It might be doable if they can get in time, but Beastly is moving far too slow, and he can't even kill Mo. He has no help from his teammate. Quartz is not in range, and Arial Arise take a perfect site rotation.
Well, there it is, a clean 3-0 to start off the map. I think we are 3 for 3 on this with our series so far, or map so far today. It was One Shot who took 3 in a row, well, 5 in a row, but the 3 openers at least.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
LSR took the 3 openers, and now it's Arial Arise to take the 3 openers. So we've got a bit of a theme emerging here, pun not intended on Theme Park. But what we do have to remember is that in all of these examples that I just mentioned, we've seen a comeback from the other team. I hope for Gaimin Gladiators' sake, it is just a matter of time of finding out what they need to do on here on Theme Park. But so far through 3 rounds, we are seeing a very traditional Theme Park focused on the defensive side, on delaying the attackers as much as possible and maintaining that top floor control as much as possible. And we're seeing Gaimin Gladiators do exactly what Arial Arise want them to do, aren't they? Feed into that strategy, go through that whole clear, walk into the setup that Arial Arise have prepared for them. Now, this 4th round, it'll be a very important turning point, Harrison, because either we're going to finally see that Gaimin Gladiators do have what it takes to deal with this the traditional theme park way, or they're going to fail again, and we're going to have to see in the next 2 rounds on the attack something completely different. We're going to have to see aggression. We're going to have to see a rush on Lab, because if they don't do that, if they keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, I don't know why they expect the result to be any different.
And they're going to have to clear a fierce Arial Arise roam once again. These roams have been a huge challenge for Gaimin Gladiators to even fight against. Arial Arise never coming away with the disadvantage after their roam, and that's certainly a testament to their skill and how they've been winning a majority of these rounds. Gaimin Gladiators have already, started to clear. They've opened the hatch about 50 seconds down. Again, I worry a little bit about their pacing, especially considering how far back the roamers are playing if Gaimin Gladiators choose to fully press them. But, I mean, if they just have someone hold, if they just set up air jabs, then they will be free to open up above Armory for the most part.
Well, some pressure being applied early to the site here. And Arial Arise, I mean, they do have to watch out for this because there's only one defender, now two, on the site itself. Everyone is either upstairs or slightly extended, but seeing the pressure build from Gaimin Gladiators, you can see all those orange outlines sprinting back to the site. They know this is dangerous. If Arial Arise, or rather, if Arial Arise are caught off guard, they know if Gaimin Gladiators can build this pressure, but a beautiful C4 from Jay. This time it is not going to get caught on the reinforcement, flying beautifully over and dealing with Arrow. That is catastrophic for Gaimin Gladiators. That is their only hard breacher. The exothermic charge was denied by a beautiful impact trick. It is now gonna have to be just a full sprint and frag fest for Gaimin if they want to take this.
Like you said, a devastating blow to the attack. They already looked shaky with that breach open. Now they have no hard breach whatsoever and have to go into a single funnel. They don't even have options of what bottleneck that they want to go through. A good nade from Quartz, though, will frag Reed Adams. So down goes the Maestro. That's a good body on site. That's the Alda dead. Control of those evil eyes. They can no longer open and zap you, but other defenders, of course, can still move them around. Nice long angle from Reedsink, threading the needle. Beautiful headshot on the Beastly. Refrag coming in from Sykes, though, will make sure that we still stay even. Gone 6 in the barbed wire will fully reveal Quartz's intentions, though. Mo is just around the corner. He's got a crossfire with Freak on the split. In comes the Iana, but wins the fight. Freak stops watching it to kill Jolton. He'll get another. Quartz gets a triple. It's all down to Jay in the 1 versus 1, but the time is so low. It should be an easy cleanup, but he misses the shot. Re-engages. Quartz looked like he hit the sprint, and Arial Arise take 4 in a row.
Oh my god, that came way too close. Arial Arise losing it a bit there. Very concerning. They gave the gunfights to Gaimin Gladiators that the attackers were desperate for. I mean, that was their only option. Arial Arise really counting their lucky stars that Quartz did not hit his shots. Yeah, way too close for comfort. I was really thinking, Jay, why don't you just not take the fight? Why don't you just dip out and go to top dragon while you have a chance, while he wasn't swinging the angle? It's possible that he didn't want to take that risk in terms of allowing the plant to go down, or he felt that he didn't have time to run out the doorway, which I expect is the reality of the situation. He wanted to make sure that there was no risk in taking that fight without having his gun in the face, of course, ready to go. So either way, Arial Arise take the round. Another situation where Gaimin Gladiators just try to play it traditionally. They try to get that wall open, and just like the previous round, Arial Arise, they've got those elements in place to deny it. It was just a hard breach denial in terms of the impact trick, and then it was a beautiful C4 that immediately stopped the attack and forced them to change it up. It was very hard for them to do anything from that point forward.
Now back to bunk for Arial Arise, where Gaimin Gladiators, once again, opened one of the breaches and then chose between 2 different bottlenecks. It was a 50-50, and they chose wrong. Or you could argue that Arial Arise chose right. Either way works. They're very extended, of course, as they were in the previous defense, all the way up towards Cash Room, ready to meet Gaimin Gladiators head on, or at least just play for stall, play for drones, deny some intel. But Quartz, very early on, is just going to simply jump through the dragon window. Sykes gets 1 kill onto Jay. The flames will prevent Quartz from getting the kill onto Freak as well, but it's not going to stop Sykes from getting an over-aggressive Malusi. Attempted trade comes in from Mo. He's the next one to try and step up, but he won't be able to land it just yet. Re-engaging now in through Cash. Very dangerous for this bandit as he actually grabs Beastly on the window. I thought Quartz was for sure going to get that kill, but no, Mo survives with a kill, and now ReedSync is the next to assist. Every time Gaimin Gladiators peels away a layer of this roam, Arial Arise replace it, and we end up even.
Oh, this game, it really feels like it's slowly devolving here as Arial Arise just ramp up the aggression. It was some mind-boggling aggression early on that lost 2 lives right away, but then equally mind-boggling, if not more surprising aggression from them to then get 2 kills back. It's hard to say stop swinging if it's working. So Gaimin Gladiators now, once again, they need to find out what they want to do next. They do have, I'd say, a pretty good foothold on this site right now, or at least the map. They've got the 3 operators that they probably wanted to stay alive at all costs. You've got the soft destruction, you've got your Finka, and you've got the hard breach. Losing Beastly and Quartz, I'd say those are the 2 people that it's okay to lose at this point in the round. You've got 60 seconds. You still can open up another hard wall. You've got the breaching hammer to use to open up these hatches. You've got still 4 nades in play. This situation, I would say, favors the attackers if it were not for the 3 C4s that Arial Arise still have in pocket.
I didn't even notice that until you pointed it out. It's Goyo, Bandit, and Mute alive. And if the attack pushes too far into bunk or tries to plant daycare, then one of those defenders could rotate below to get a nasty C4 kill. But for now, breach is open from Arrow. Drones are coming in. Gaimin Gladiators know they have a bit of time to collect info and are slowing down their attack. I like that they're not getting ahead of themselves. Fully clearing Cafe. There's no one in there. Sykes has now moved in, but he's taking some damage thanks to that elevated angle. Arrow is the next to fall thanks to Mo. Pre-fire lands on a Reed Adams. Sykes has 3 kills now. He might have to ace, or at the very least 4K, as Jolton takes a huge amount of damage from the fire. Pre-firing does not land just yet. Sykes goes down to Mo. It's now all on the low HP Sledge. He'll land 1 with the pistol, but before the Goyo can come in and shoot him in the back, the time runs out. Just like we saw in game 1 with 1 shot, Arial Arise will win 5 defenses in a row.
Oh my goodness, this is one-sided. It may be a defensive-sided theme park, but when it looks like Gaimin Gladiators just don't have the best understanding of the map as a whole, that doesn't give me the greatest indication of what is to come on their defensive side. But like you said, Harrison, if we think back to our first matchup of the day, one-shot Aqualix, it was 5 rounds in a row from one shot. Aqualix then took 4 out of the next 5 rounds to bring things back to even very, very quickly. So that is what Gaimin Gladiators will now be tasked with. And if there's any bomb site to do it, it is here on Lab. I would love to see them just do a good old classic theme park play and just rush into Lab, jump in that supply window.
Yeah.
Because you just gotta do it at some point.
Or the bathroom window.
Bathroom window and the supply window, both options, right?
At the same time, perhaps.
That's generally what we see. It's like the most common rush on, I mean, the times we see theme park. I mean, it is what I think most teams will do when you see this site in play.
Yeah,
but now it's a question of, will they do it? Yeah, no one's in sight. This is the perfect time.
Or rather, just Jay. But I mean, hey, it's a lone smoke. You could very easily overwhelm him if you play your rush coordinated and correctly, but unfortunately for us, Jonah, it seems that our deliberating and our hypothesizing will go to waste. Gaimin Gladiators will opt to full clear the map against Arial Arise's Roam. Once again, something that they have not done with a man advantage this entire map so far.
I don't love this plan. It's the same thing they've done every round. Except for the thrown attacks where they do go directly into maintenance and pressure the wall right away. I mean, this is the same exact take. And Arial Arise, now they know that. Now they know that they can sit back. They can wait for this top floor clear to come through. They're not bringing a Jackal. They're not bringing one element that could potentially assist in that speed of the clear, right? No Zero either. Just the Nomad in terms of that flank watch and flank denial. They're going to have to clear this map the old-fashioned way. And to their credit, I guess, a minute 15 down, and they are mostly secured this top floor, at least half of the top floor. You've got the other half of the top floor, the harder half to clear out, that is upper arcade and the bunks and daycare side, still firmly in the control of Arial Arise. Jolton will try to alleviate that maybe by hopping on the break room window, but he is actually looking to get aggressive. All of Arial Arise are taking some fights. A C4 from below will be off the mark. Mo gets lit up here, so if Gaimin Gladiators can use this and start taking some gunfights, it is possible that they can get this control.
All right, so it's pretty good from the Gladiators so far. They haven't lost a body. They've attained a decent amount of control. They have the breaches open, and Mo is very low HP. In swings Jolton to join his team, and the Gaimin Gladiators have the full top floor coverage. The only thing I'm concerned about now is the time. 45 seconds left to go ahead, establish the transition, get the sledge in to complete that vertical play, make sure, or sorry, there's not even a sledge. I just realized. I'm so used to Jolton playing sledge, I didn't even notice that, or I didn't even register that, yeah, he's on zone. That means there's no sledge. So they don't even, wait, he doesn't have breaching charges.
They go for top floor control, no breaching charges, no sledge.
All right, never mind. They're going to do almost nothing with the vertical control. All that did was shove the roamers back and make the site presence more stalwart, I guess.
Oh,
Mo's going to get that opening frag onto Beastly, swiftly traded back 2 for Gaimin Gladiators before Mo gets a second. Looking for more. He's the lone man on site. Reed Adams will chime in as Mo gets headshotted. 2 versus 2, even man count. But wait, the time! It's 1 second! What are they doing? They were so preoccupied with the offsite guy in, like, Throne or whatever that I guess they forgot to plant.
Now, obviously, we can't be watching Super stream right now, but I know for a fact this guy, he's got to be yelling at them. He's yelling at them. He's got to be. Because how do you allow this to happen again? And how do you attack Lab, taking full top floor control and taking 2.5 minutes to do it, only to realize that you have nothing to do vertical with? Why are you taking that top floor control if you're going to do nothing with it? It makes no sense. We saw them use an exothermic charge on the floor to get an angle open. That's how desperate it was at that point for Gaimin Gladiators. They never changed up how they approached any of these sites, despite Arial Arise going flawless every time. It is ridiculous that they didn't even bother to vary it up a little bit. That's what's most frustrating. If they lost it by trying something else, I'm better with that than I am with what we just witnessed. It's 6-0 for Arial Arise right now. Flawless defensive side. I don't know what Gaimin Gladiators can do.
Wouldn't it be nifty? Wouldn't it be wacky if we got a 7-0?
I thought you were going to say, wouldn't it be nifty if there was a feature that allowed you to repick an operator and change your attack on the fly, but,
oh,
guess
that
not.
too. But wouldn't it be nifty if we got a 7-0? It would be our first 7-0 of the season. We've had plenty of 7-1s and almost 7-0s. So this would be our first. Amaru in from Jay. Into bunk where there's no one. I was so ready to be like excited, and then he's just staring at a barricade. So I'm a little sad about that. But he is in break room very early on. So he can perhaps get cheeky and land himself somewhere that a defender doesn't expect. Dokkaebi call goes out from Mo as well. Nothing from Arial Arise just yet. No engagements. Gaimin Gladiators are not giving themselves up just yet.
Look at the top right of your screen. Drone counter. 4 drones for Arial Arise, and they have only just entered the building. 60 seconds into the round, an entire map to clear out. They are going to be in serious trouble when it comes to the intel that they've got. Right, clearly they're desperate for that intel, using several of those drones at once as they try to work their way across this top floor, but it is, again, going to be easier said than done. There are several of these defenders upstairs trying to echo the similar setups we saw from Arial Arise. Good nade, though. Forces Sykes further into the corner and takes him out no problem. That's a great kill. That'll encourage the rest of Gaimin Gladiators to back off, so just like that, all 4 of these defenders are down below. Jolton is also taking a massive risk with shotgun out in the open right in the middle of Dragon. He'll back off and play a little bit smarter.
Lockers?
He'll just hide in the corner while the rest of this attack gets underway.
All right. We'll see if it works out, I guess, for Jolton. Still nades in the pocket of both Freak and Reed Sync as well, and they know where Quartz is. Beautiful pre-fire onto one. No refrag from the Dokkaebi of Mo. Lagging behind his team a little bit there, but distracted by the drone. Quartz will get his head ripped off by the DMR. And man advantage once again for Arial Arise, and 40 seconds left to play with. Luckily, the man they lost was not Reed Adams. He's still got the exothermic charge, but Jolton ends up getting a kill from Lockers. Now the Thermite very nervous about that position. He'll try and pop flash in, but the shotgun rings true for Jolton. Reed Adams sprints in without his gun up, leaving Mo and Reed left to pick up the pieces. More flashbangs go out. Jolton is full blind once again, nearly lands the shotgun blast, but it's not to be. Mo finishes him off, but now there's only 10 seconds left. Reed and Mo have to make something happen. In comes the sledge. There's barbed wire in his way. Someone around the corner. Mo is dead. Reed has no time. Beastly gets both, and the Gladiators deny the 7-0.
Jolton denies the 7-0 with a shotgun in Lockers. That's what won them the round. I cannot believe that. What a silly play. And Arial Arise just... They really wanted that kill, and so they hunted him down, and he just tore them to pieces. Well played by Jolton. As funny as it is a round for Gaimin Gladiators, and it could be meaningful in the future as they work some rounds back. But really, I think, like you said, Harrison, just serves to deny the 7-0. Had it not been for Mr. Jolton with a shotgun in Lockers in a corner, that round did look like it was going Arial Arise's way.
You really should have. And then those flashes like all missed. They looked like they were on top of Jolton, and then he would just turn around and not be full blind. Reed Adams also kind of sprinted into him, which wasn't great.
With the diffuser, by the way.
Yeah, that was a little odd. I don't know why you wouldn't go into that engagement with your gun up, but I digress. Jolton, great play. Good 2K, saving the round for his team. That being said, the Gladiators do have quite the mountain to climb. They've still got to take another 5 rounds in a row. They have to answer Arial Arise's flawless half with a flawless half of their own. Something that I haven't seen like forever. When was the last time I saw that? I think it was like an EU game. I think it was like Chaos on Coastline or something. That's how long ago it was. I'm pretty sure that was a double 6-0. I don't know. Whatever. Either way, Gladiators do not have my confidence, even though they just won that round.
I mean, like we said, it was a unique way to win the round. Arial Arise did have an advantage which they will be attempting to secure early on here by getting some map control quickly. Unlike Gaimin Gladiators' approach to this site, Arial Arise will be starting things off by working their way into Cafe. Already opening things up, forcing that deployable shield away with a nicely placed Rotero drone, thanks to Mo. And the rest of this team now, they should be able to work their way on up. Upper Arcade, of course, will also be a focal point of this control. Reed hoping to abbreviate this by getting on that break room rappel and opening up a potential angle into the site. You're assisted, of course, by Reed Sync on that Cappy Tau, who's also got a couple of angles to work with and can always throw in those asphyxiating bolts to force those defenders back. But gotta keep in mind that on the attacking side, you've got Jay as well, sneaking around on the Nook, and right on cue, Jay will strike first.
Excellent frag grenade on the Quartz. Quartz had evaded the first one, but it was perfectly timed. Up close, Freak will lose the fight to the SMG-11, but there's too many bodies for Jolton to handle. Beastly goes down as well, 2 versus 4. Everything coming up Arial Arise right now, and that leaves Arrow 1 versus 4. Plant going down, coverage from 2 players on the door. Jay finishes him, and Arial Arise, they'll gift the Gladiators a single round and swiftly shut down the map right after.
Yeah, Arial Arise playing that map just overall, just beautifully. They were without question the dominant team in that situation, and yeah, they never looked back. They did have a couple of hiccups where they got maybe a little bit overconfident. They took a couple of fights they shouldn't have, but I mean,
12-4.
But they just managed to make it happen. Yeah, we're looking at the scoreboard right now. Mo dropping 12 kills, of course. We'll get into the stats more in a bit, I am sure, but what you have to say, stats or not, it is a 7-1 win. Arial Arise over Gaimin Gladiators, solidifying their place at the top of Stage 1.
Yeah, they retake over ATK as ATK have that one regulation loss, whereas Arial Arise have points in every single game thus far. So big win for them here. And I think a big win not only in terms of points, but also proving to us that they can play Theme Park. Last time they played this map, they played against TTK. They lost 8-7, and neither team really looked great. But here, Arial Arise, they seem to have gone back to the drawing board. They looked phenomenal. We're going to toss it back to the analyst desk to discuss just how improved they really were.
Arial Rise taking that biggest victory of the day, largest margin, 7-1. Cookies, did we I think, although we all voted for Arial Rise, did we expect a 7-1 victory?
I kind of expected a personality clash between these two teams because, as I said, I think Arial Rise just has a little bit more athleticism in the fragging side of things. They were much more, for the few attacks we saw, looked like they were playing like to win. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. They're trying to do like one-off stuff to maybe steal a round or two on sites that they shouldn't. Like, you know, and I just feel like Gaimin Gladiators weren't taking a whole lot of risks. We saw here this was one example. Like you see on your screen, there's Jolton's playing this closet. He's playing like a maniac, but for the most part, throughout this entire season, they've never really been a team that takes a whole lot of risks, and they don't really seem like they're in the best state of mind when the other team is fluid and flying around and. That kind of was the story today. I don't think they really matched up well with Arial at all, especially on this map. By the way, Arial has a deep map pool.
I slightly disagree. For the side of Arial Rise, one of the biggest things that we've harped on and really praised on their defensive side is them attacking drones. And it seems like Gaimin Gladiators had that idea in their hand, but Arial Rise completely shifted it up on their defensive half, which is why you see not 1, not 2, not 3, 6 straight defensive wins, with 2 of those being on time. That was because Arial Rise...
Three were on time.
So our stats people need
even
to be
more
fired.
so.
They need to be fired. But with that being said, Gaimin Gladiators didn't bring the right utility. They would have the drones up, they would have some map control, but they can't break the labyrinth because Arial Rise was extending, then coming back to site, playing behind shields, having ADSs and Wamai magnets, all this fun stuff. And then all of a sudden, there's no soft breach on the side of Gaimin Gladiators. Oh, how do they get into site with only a single hard breacher that got impact tricked? They have like 2 flashes left to try to break a triple crossfire. Nothing they could do. It just almost looked sorry to a certain extent, and Gaimin Gladiators being incredibly lost.
Now we have once again Smitty to interview. We'll ask him. I got some great questions because I want to learn more about Arial Arise. Smitty, dominant victory, as we've all been saying here on the desk. Did you expect it to be this swift, a 7-1 victory?
Well, honestly, I can't say I'm happy with our performance. You know, that one round we lost was, honestly, to me, it didn't make me happy. I had to scold the boys later. We had to look close. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta bring the whip down sometimes on him and just, clean up those errors. This looked like a well-versed map. We've seen you play Theme Park once before this stage. It was actually an 8-7 loss in OT. Is this the result of looking at that match and deciding where your errors were, or was it just the matter of facing a completely different team?
Well, I mean, I would be lying if I say it wasn't both. You know, it's both. It's just a different team, and also just the fact that we went back and looked in our errors in our way and repented. You know.
Now you guys are back on top, points in every single matchup. I think we talked about this last time that you and I talked, but like, that's gotta feel good going through a season, although few losses along the way. Non-stop points. What's the secret to your team's success?
Well, I can't discuss such liberty. It's my Krabby Patty secret formula,
Yeah. Naturally, you don't want to give away the secrets. It's a long season because, as we know, these stages are not as split up. So I'll let you get away with that one.
I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Have a good one, Smitty.
You guys have a great day.
Oh, we are. We'll continue to have a good day. Oh my god.
Quickest interview we've had.
I could just, you gotta have a quick interview when you have a match that quick. What are you gonna talk about? We dominate them. We dominated them. Wipe your hands off. You keep moving along. Honestly, that was a matchup where I don't know if there was hope for Gaimin Gladiators. They seemed to put in what they could put in, but I think that was one of Arial Arise's best games. I gotta say, today's been a crazy day so far. There's still 2 matches left to go, and these are 2 very important matches as far as the stands are concerned. We're gonna go to that quick break, and when we come back, it's gonna be West Garfield Park taking on Nocturnes.